Okay, so I'm going to do part of your assignment with you. I'm going to do numbers 9 through 12, and then you're going to have a different assignment at the end of this video. As long as you are writing down everything that I am, showing all your work, you're going to get half of your assignment done in this video. So we are still working on inequalities and solving inequalities by addition or subtraction. So I am on page 501 again, and I'm looking at number 9. So 4 more than a number is more than 13. I'm just going to start with how the sentence starts. So 4 more than a number. So if it's more than a number, we're going to add to that number. And we don't know what that number is, so let's call it n is more than. If you remember back to that doodle sheet that we used or created last week, I would get that out because that's going to help you a lot with this unit and figuring out what symbol to use for different story problems. So is more than is under the is greater than column, and then we have 13. So there's our inequality. In order to solve it, we draw our line. I always work on the side that has the variable, so I have a positive 14 with it. To get rid of it, I'm going to make a 0 pair with a negative 14. So then I get n is greater than 13 minus 4 is 9. Number 10. The sum of a number and 19 is at least 8 2/10. The sum means addition of a number you don't know what it is, and 19 is at least. So it could equal 8 2/10, but it could also be greater than 8 2/10. Oops. I put it the wrong way. So it could be greater than or equal to 8 2/10. All right. We work on the side that has the variable, so I have a positive 19. To get rid of that, I'm going to subtract 19, or a negative 19. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. This makes a 0 pair. N is greater than or equal to, when I take 8 2/10 minus 19, I get 10 8/10, and so that's my answer. All right, number 11, the high school soccer team can have no more than 26 players, and we need to write and solve an inequality to determine how many more players can make the team if the coach already chose 17. Okay, so let's just start with how many players we have on the team already. We have 17 players already. And we could add more players to the team. We don't know how many more we can add though, so let's call that n. But we know that we cannot have any more than 26 players. So it could equal 26 players, but it can't be bigger than that. It has to be less than that. So my sign is less than or equal to. No more than is also on that doodle chart that we made last week. All right, to solve it, I work on the side that has the variable, so I have a positive 17 with that. To get rid of it, I'm going to minus 17 or a negative 17. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. This makes a 0 pair. N is less than or equal to 26 minus 17 is 9. Here it says to interpret that solution. So if I was to interpret n is less than or equal to 9, I would say I could add 9 more players. Or less than that, or fewer. So I could add 9, I could add 2, I could add 3, but if I put 10 more people on the team, I would have too many. So that is not allowed. So I could add 9 or less. All right, number 12, last one. Lalo has 1,500 minutes per month on his new cell phone plan. How many more minutes can he use if he's already talked for 78? Okay, so again, let's start with what he's already done. So he already has used 785. He has more that he can use. We don't know how many more he's going to use, though, so we're going to call that N. And it says that he can have up to 1,500. So he could use all 1,500, so he could equal that. But it can't be bigger than that. It has to be less than that. Otherwise, you get charged additional fees. So our sign is, again, going to be less than or equal to. All right, to solve this one, I work on the side that has the variable, so I have a positive 785, so to get rid of it, I have a negative or minus 785. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. N is less than or equal to, when I type that in my calculator, I get 715. So N is less than or equal to 715. Again, to interpret this, I would say that he can use 715 more minutes or less. Because if he talks more than 715 minutes, he's going to go above his plan and he's going to have additional fees. So he could talk for 5 more minutes and he'd be okay. He could talk for 700 minutes and he'd be okay. He could talk for 715 minutes and he would be okay. But if he talks for 720 minutes, he goes over his plan and he's going to be charged an additional fee. All right, make sure you check in that choice board your assignment for today. Take a picture of it and then upload it into Google Classroom.